Hello my friends. My name is Bot Mathematician, and this is Holomancer.
And of course, I am the daring reporter Dora.
We are very glad to see you all again.
The year of the dragon is drawing to a close.
We will soon find out details about the new Hearthstone year as well as changes that will occur to the game.
The most important improvement should be changes to the game economy. The community is dreaming about this.
Today we have prepared our changes to the current reward system, and invite you to become participants in our marketing research.
You will have the opportunity to evaluate the effectiveness of our idea. Perhaps together we can change the economy of the game, or vice versa. The results of our experiment could confirm the effectiveness of the current monetization system. We do not want to be hysterical about the game's cost. This time we want to look at this problem from a different perspective.
We must accept that everyone wants to maximize their income. It is just a fact.
Could Hearthstone become a completely free game? Can developers make money solely from new skins and card backs?
Definitely not. Players are not ready to spend a ton of money on these. Here is the evidence. According to our statistics, only 13% of players purchased the new Sylvanas skin.
Players want a fair gaming economy, but half of them are not ready to spend a cent for various reasons. At the same time, they desire large amounts of content. Game studios are seeking to make as much money as possible, as they have obligations to investors and shareholders. The game developers are becoming hostages of the situation, as they must try to please both managers and players.
This cannot be changed, it is a fact. But you must admit, good content should cost money, and if the game is distributed free of charge, this does not mean that players should not support the project.
This is actually a very complex problem. Hearthstone is an important source of income for Blizzard. We respect that. But on the other hand, a crisis has ripened in the economy of the game. It seems that Blizzard has concerns. If the game becomes more friendly to the players, the company will stop making money. And these fears are not in vain.
Therefore, the company chose a strategy for creating additional sources of compulsory spending in an attempt to maintain profit.
According to the results of our survey, only 2% of players are completely satisfied with the game economy, and don't want any changes. More than half of players are convinced that change is necessary.
We thought about what can be changed for a very long time and analyzed the monetization systems of Runeterra and Gwent. These games are more loyal to players and have interesting approaches to monetization. For example, some Gwent fans believe the game's economy is too loyal since players can get the whole collection of cards too fast. After that, they lose interest and purpose in the game since they don't have anything else to spend their resources on.
We do not want to only engage in populism and convince the company to give players more resources. It does not make sense.
Our main goal is to try to offer a system that will not only allow Blizzard to maintain a high profit, but possibly even increase it, while also making the game economy more loyal to players. This would expand the audience of the game and allow completing a collection of cards for free. Subsequently, developers will gain the respect that they deserve.
As you know, we constantly monitor the number of rewards players receive.
Under the current economy, during the 4 months between expansions, players have had the opportunity to receive rewards equivalent to approximately 110 packs. Sometimes this amount is more, sometimes less. We propose to increase the number of free resources by almost 2 times, to 200 packs. As you know, you need to purchase approximately 250 packs to get the entire card collection.
In addition, we propose introducing a generous reward for a complete collection. But first things first.
Let's start with our changes to the quest system. A daily quest should most often award you a pack from the current expansion. Sometimes you will be able to get a classic pack or 80 gold as a reward for completing a quest with a friend. If you refresh the quest, you are guaranteed to receive a random quest for 60 gold, or in very rare cases, 100 gold.
Thus, you can always choose between a current pack and a smaller amount of gold.
We also want to increase rewards for ranked play. If you manage to reach the 10th rank, you will receive an additional 3 packs. For the 5th rank you will receive 5 packs. If you have reached the legend rank you will receive 10 packs.
In addition, we propose to create weekly special quests with tasks that you can perform in solo mode. As a reward, you will also receive the current card pack. Events should occur every month. As a reward you will receive packs from past expansions and cards. Within 4 months, the reward will be equivalent to 40 old packs.
Thus, you will receive a reward that is equivalent to a minimum of 200 packs if you took part in all events, made 6 victories per day, and reached rank 5 each month for 4 months.
Most players spend much less time in the game. In this case, if you achieve 3 wins per day and also reach rank 10, your reward will be equivalent to 180 packs. And finally, if you manage to achieve the legend rank every month and 9 won times a day, you will earn at least 230 packs.
Here are a few words about the main disadvantage of this system. About a third of players use a rational strategy for collecting resources. They collect gold for 3 to 4 months.
This approach allows you to significantly save money and get the maximum possible number of new packs for free on the release day of a new expansion. The main source of gold is daily quests. In our system, quests will almost always offer you a pack of cards as a reward. You can always update your daily quest and choose gold instead of the pack, but it will not be as profitable.
Thus, collecting resources over the course of 4 months will be a meaningless exercise, since all players are guaranteed to receive much more cards after the expansion release. They will only need to wait a bit.
Another very important innovation is a special award for the full collection of cards for every new expansion. As you know, if you manage to collect all cards from the classic set, you will receive 100 gold.
It's just ridiculous.
We offer a very valuable reward. First of all, you will get a golden pack. Secondly, you will receive a special set of golden cards from the current expansion. Let's look at this with the example of Descent of Dragons. You will get 5 golden legendary Galakron cards as well as 2 golden copies of Devoted Maniac and Shield of Galakron. These will be promotional cards that you cannot disenchant. If you already had these golden copies, they will be automatically disenchanted from your collection for the full cost of crafting.
And the main reward. A special new golden legendary card that will not affect the balance of the game, but will give a lot of fun to the players.
It could be a card that looks like Whizbang the Wonderful or Elite Tauren Chieftain.
Maybe it could be a card that will make your deck into random legendary cards.
Dora, why not? We are convinced that the developers and the community have a lot of interesting ideas.
This offer seems generous and fair enough. In other words, in the long run, players will have all the cards from past sets, regardless of whether they spent money or not. Creating a deck will be easier, and players will be able to use more classes and strategies. Moreover, players will not have to get rid of cards after rotation, since they will have enough resources. In turn, this will allow players to play in wild mode. Players just have to be patient. But what will Blizzard get? What is the benefit to them?
The main source of income is still pre-orders. We suggest keeping the current pricing system for the bundles that were introduced in Descent of Dragons.
60 packs and a golden legendary card for $50, and 100 packs and a golden legendary card for $80.
But in addition, we decided to add a new bundle. We called it the Thank You Bundle. In other words, by making this purchase you say thanks to the developers. The money received for the purchase will be spent on improving the game, experimenting with modes and new features. For just $10 you get 20 packs. This is a great opportunity for free-to-play players to support developers.
Dear friends, your time has come. We won't ask you to rate our system. We came up with something more interesting.
Here is the main question. If this monetization system appears in Hearthstone, will you have a desire to regularly pre-order? And how much money will you be willing to spend? Are you ready to thank the developers for their hard work and generosity?
Time to pay!
Please, think carefully and be honest with everything. We created a YouTube poll. Find the I button on the screen and vote.
We understand that our concept is not perfect, but at the same time, it solves many problems.
Unfortunately, pre-orders are still too expensive.
Believe me, we tried to find a way to reduce the cost of packs, but this, in turn, inevitably entails a significant reduction in company revenue. Blizzard has created an ingenious monetization system that allows them to get the maximum possible profit. The company will definitely not give up on this approach.
You did not say anything about solo mode. Perhaps adventures should be completely free.
Dora, we don't agree with this. We still believe adventures should remain premium content.
This will allow Team 5 to develop the mode and make it better. If you want to access all chapters in Dungeon Run, just pay money or refuse part of the packs. We consider it fair. But if we are talking about a linear adventure that gives new cards, developers must create more alternative sources for resources to offset these costs.
Finally, we invite you to join the discussions of our other experiments, solo content and a cooperative game mode. We have already received a huge amount of relevant data.
We plan to release a special video on these topics. The results are very unusual and they will definitely be interesting for Blizzard.
Friends, thank you very much for your activity.
If you have not had time to take part in the discussion and voting, don't miss the chance to influence the results of these experiments.
Please like, subscribe and click the bell icon to get new video updates.
Alright, that's all for today. Thank you for being with us.
And special thanks to Chris for text editing.
We will meet in new videos.
Good luck.